Hello, hello. This is Jamie, light working your way through the unknown. I wanted to take a minute today. I just finished a really fun podcast with Stephanie at DCNW. We talked a little bit about retrogrades and how to work with the different energies and how, you know, a fear based approach isn't necessarily the smartest approach. So, what we didn't have a chance to elaborate on were some of the aspects of the different planets. Um, and I think this is really cool information to have, even just this basic outline that I'm going to give you, so that you can kind of think through what different planets are in retrograde energy and how you can work with that in a positive way instead of just fearing it and, having the collective be on this, kind of Murphy's Law sort of outlook of it. There are ways to kind of reverse it. And I heard something in from astrologer, and they talked about relating it to kind of tarot decks or tarot cards in reverse and what we do with those as well. So, without further ado, I'm going to go through the planets here so that you have this information because I know some of you have asked for this over time. And just a little overview on it. It's kind of like hit points on it, something for you to take notes on so that when retrogrades come about, you can maybe pull out your notes and kind of take a deeper look at what's going on. With that said, especially with Mercury retrograde, I also look at what moon's energies are going to be occurring during the retrogrades, as well as the month and or where I am on my shadow work as well. So all of these things combined kind of set the stage. And if you think about and take into account all of them, you're much better off during these retrograde energy times. Firstly, I'll say that planets don't technically reverse orbit. It's kind of an optical thing, an illusion, if you will, a perception that it's doing that, which was interesting information as well, I thought to share. So, with that said, let's go into Sun. So, for Sun, it's about the luminary of life in self, consciousness, self expression, leadership, ego, personality, vitality. It's a more masculine aspect. They have like sun gods and things like that. So, those are some of the qualities of the sun. Moon is emotions, habits, instincts, behaviors, intuition, memories. It is a planetary body that you work with for your inner work and your moods. There's a moon tarot card as well, and many of you are familiar with that. So, same aspects going on there. Mercury is related to the mind, communication, intelligence, ideas, excuse me, info, technology, business, legalities, so legal stuff. You want to kind of keep an eye on there. And it's about the collective's mental patterns as well. So, if you're thinking outside of the box, you can also take into respect that if everyone, the collective, has this very, super cautious, on edge energy during the retrograde, you know, in a philosophical aspect, you could kind of look at how is that truly setting this layer of anxiety for those few weeks around the collective. And if you tap into collective consciousness, how much more anxiety you might be tapping into. So that's just kind of food for thought. I like to throw things like that at people so that they sit with it for a minute and kind of really digest it in their own intelligence and their own intuition and find out where their opinions and their perspectives sit on that sort of thing. So kind of pushing at you to kind of think it through and see how it applies, doesn't apply, and giving yourself grace and space, as I always say, to change your perspective with new information. Sorry about that. Boy, after having that podcast, I need a little bit more water here. So next up to bat is Venus. So we have beauty, love, attraction, profit, abundance, pleasure, art, love languages, things like that. So that is something to take into account when energies are swirly around that planetary concept there. Mars is action, passion, courage, desire, aggression, divine competition, um, drive, conflict. So it's a collective's focus on the more aggressive natures of things. Um, Mars energy, they talk about war and things like that. So it is something to write down and note and see how that applies. Next is Jupiter, expansion, luck, optimism, hope, vision, growth, wisdom, where you find your luck at this time and in life, in situations and things like that. Next up will be Saturn, which is structure, karma, strength, perseverance, discipline, law, authority, lessons, a time of taking responsibility and learning. Uranus is revolution, change, freedom, rebellion, chaos, forward ideas, and invention. So, chaos, sometimes, let me sidebar here. Sometimes people have a really negative connotation on chaos. So, the chaos energy, as I perceive it, is just energy that hasn't been assigned to anything yet. So it's to me, it's the essence of creative spark and things like that. So it's energy that's out there that you can kind of mold and work with, and focus in on, and different things like that. Um, Also for expression, this planet. Now Neptune, which I actually have tattooed on my neck. I really like the spiritual aspects of Neptune. Magic, spirituality, dreams, fantasy, art again. Art appears in a few of these. Mysticism, illusion, showing your mystical sides. So that is also something to take into perspective when you're working with these planetary energies. Lastly, we have Pluto, which is rebirth, transformation, destruction, death, evolution, power, regeneration, the subconscious, how you transform. These things, to me, really speak to the energy of the phoenix, right? Phoenix energy, transformational energy, things like that. It really is a neat energy, I find, because I love Phoenix energy in general. I have a Phoenix tattooed for myself, and I have it actually in the position. I had a great argument with the tattooist at the time, and they're like, it's upside down. I don't want to do this. I mean, I really strongly am cautioning against this because it's upside down and that doesn't make sense. I said, this tattoo is for me, not for anybody else. In this way, I can see it and remind myself that this can be a rebirth moment. This does not have to destroy me or take me down. And there have been multiple aspects, we'll just go there, in my life, which have been very traumatic for me and have been have progressed into quite a bit of shadow work that I've worked out and things like that. So this for me is a reminder to keep moving, keep going. You're growing, you have purpose, all of the yummy stuff like that. So again, that's also attributed to Pluto energy. So with that said, when some of these might be in retrograde, what you can think about is the aspects of them and, how to watch for the reverse of them, how to kind of work with the energy that you're in. And I'm always about that, working with the energy that you're in. You cannot stop some energy that's out there. It's bigger than we are, okay? Especially the collective energy and things like that. But what we do have power over is ourselves and how we respond to the energy and how we work with it. So let's go to Mercury retrograde. That's the most popular one out there, and it's about to hit next week. So yes, there was a reason for this engagement here today. Mercury, so a lot of times there's miscommunications, there's technical issues, there's things like that. You've heard them spoken of ad nauseum on YouTube. And then you have, all the memes out there. And my favorite one is from the Hunger Games. May the odds be ever in your favor. That's kind of a fun one I like to put out there. But with that said, it's important not to put intense fear energy out there and in your energy field during that time. So don't panic. No panic, anxiety, energy. That's not going to help anybody. This is a time for rees. Don't start new things. Start revisiting older things. Renewing, revisiting, revising, refreshing. All the re's work for this. Revitalizing, reframing. That's my favorite. All of those things will help you during this time. So and I always say, if there is a contract or some legal situation that you have no control over it, and it has to happen during this time, ask your guides, ask your angels. There's different ones you can ask for that. You may have a personal set of guides, but ask those to help you with this period, help you see clearly each situation for what it is, help you have the grace and to come from your higher self in these moments, help you to find the words that communicate what you need to communicate with love, and not fluffy love. I just mean higher self to higher self. You're speaking to the issue and not trying to like snap at people and, get back at them or hit them in their soft spot or anything like that. Speak to the challenge and how to resolve it and things like that. So you can ask for help. If you do have some flexibility and can avoid or put off for a couple weeks a big signing on a house or initiating a legal venture of some sort, bigger things like that, then maybe go ahead and do that. I would. Why not? If I have the flexibility to do so. But this retrogrades can also be a really great learning period. So we have a lot of fear based around them, but I want you to really, this year, not just this next retrograde, but maybe pay attention. I call to you a challenge to pay attention to each of the retrogrades and see how they apply. See what you can learn from these retrogrades. Because there's always a learning experience in there. There's always something you can gain from it. And it can be a really cool way to continue to work out shadow work, and just to raise your vibration and make your life a bit better. So why not do that, right? All right. Well, that is all that I have for you today. If you have any questions at all, please send me a message. I love the messages. Ask me a question. I'd love to hit it on one of these podcasts, or on the podcast with Stephanie, where we kind of go back and forth. And with that, I invite you to also hop over to the Tandem podcast that'll be out there, that we did with a bit more discussion back and forth on retrogrades and how they've affected each other experiences. And it's a kind of a fun time. So check out hers as well. And without any other announcements, I think. Oh, there is one. There is a new Facebook group that I invite you to check out, Spiritual Alchemists, a place for the spiritually curious. I created that Facebook group as a part of the LightworkerPath Facebook page, but one for students and clients and any other seekers out there, like-minded spirituality, to hop in there. There's going to be a lot of activity. There's going to be some live streams here with StreamYard, some random potentially divination events and things like that. We'll see. I'm taking some information and some polls out there to see what folks would like to see more of. But I invite you to hop over there and join that group and share and talk to everyone and ask your questions. Feel free to post fun things in there. Let's just get that moving and shaking. So I want you all to have a magnificent day, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.